So, if you're running a CPA firm, you're probably feeling an impossible equation, right? The workload just keeps piling up, but the talent pool to actually handle it seems to be shrinking. How in the world do you scale when the old rules just don't apply anymore?
Let me just ask you something straight up. Does it feel like your firm is stretched to its absolute breaking point? Like you're constantly fighting fires instead of actually planning for growth? If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place.
And look, you're not alone in this, not by a long shot. Finding experienced accountants is a real struggle. Salaries are climbing through the roof, and your best people are just getting completely burned out. And the result of all that? All this time gets sunk into routine work, which means you're missing out on the real growth opportunities.
What we're seeing here isn't just some temporary hiring problem. No, it's a fundamental breakdown of the old way of doing things. We're in what I like to call the CPA capacity crunch. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the issue. You probably don't have a problem finding clients, do you? You have a problem serving them. Your biggest bottleneck isn't demand, it's your internal capacity to get the work done. Now, when people hear the word outsourcing, their minds usually jump to one thing: cost cutting. But for a minute, let's just set that idea aside. The real power of this strategy isn't about saving a few dollars here and there. It's about unlocking the potential of your most valuable asset, your in-house team. This is where the light bulb really goes on. I mean, just imagine your most experienced accountants are no longer bogged down in repetitive, soul-crushing compliance work. Instead, they're focused on client strategy, on high-value advisory. They stop just doing tasks and they start driving value. That's the game changer. So the crucial thing is to really understand this distinction. On one side, you've got the routine, low-margin work. It's time-consuming, it follows clear rules, and honestly, it's a grind. On the other side, you have the high-margin advisory work, the strategic stuff that truly grows your firm and helps your clients win. So where would you rather your best people spend their time?
All right, so this brings us to the actual solution. And this isn't about some temporary fix to get you through tax season. We're talking about a strategic, offshore model that's designed for sustainable, long-term growth.
So where do you even start with all this? Well, the ideal entry point, the best place to dip your toe in the water, is almost always payroll. It's a function that's perfectly structured for delegation, which makes it a really low-risk, high-reward first step. Payroll is just the perfect fit for a few key reasons. First, it's highly process-driven, and it demands absolute precision. It also consumes a massive amount of your staff's hours. But here's the thing. While it's absolutely essential, it's not where you generate your highest value. That makes it the ideal candidate to delegate first. Okay, so once you've successfully streamlined payroll, once you've seen how well it works and you've built that trust, the next logical step is to tackle another major time sink: accounts payable. And just like payroll, AP is repetitive and super process heavy. Outsourcing it doesn't just remove an operational headache. It directly frees up your team to focus on something way more valuable, like strategic cash flow analysis for your clients. So, you might be asking, why India specifically? Well, it's become this global hub because of a really powerful combination of factors. You have this massive pool of skilled talent, folks trained in US standards. You've got a culture that really embraces process, a time zone advantage that creates a 24-hour work cycle, and of course, the ability to scale your team up or down whenever you need to. Okay, let's get really practical for a minute. How does this new model actually stack up against the traditional in-house team you're used to? The differences are, well, they're pretty striking. This table really lays it all out. Just look at the risk row for a second. With an in-house team, you have this incredibly high dependency on specific people. If a key person leaves, it's a crisis, right? In the outsource model, that risk is spread out across a whole process-driven team. Same goes for scalability. You go from a fixed, limited model to one that's flexible and fast. This isn't about replacing people, it's about reinforcing them. So this operational shift, it all leads to the ultimate payoff. It's about completely transforming your entire business model, moving beyond just being a service provider and becoming an absolutely indispensable strategic partner for your clients. And the great news is, the path to get there is actually really straightforward. You start by delegating the routine work. That frees up your team's time and energy, which lets them shift their focus to high-value advisory. And the direct result of that? Higher profit margins, less burnout, and a much, much more resilient firm. Of course, there are always some common fears. The first big one I always hear is this idea that outsourcing automatically means you're going to be sacrificing quality. But the reality is often the exact opposite. I mean, think about it. When you have a dedicated team whose only job is to execute one process perfectly, with rigorous checklists and controls, quality doesn't just improve, it becomes standardized and incredibly reliable. All right, the other major concern we hear all the time is about control. And I get it, nobody wants to feel like they're just handing over the keys to their business. So let's be crystal clear on this. You maintain 100% control, period. Your firm still owns the client relationship, you still own the strategy. All that changes is who executes the behind-the-scenes, process-driven tasks. It's delegation, not abdication. So the crucial point here, the big takeaway is this. Success in this modern era isn't about headcount. It is not about having the biggest team. It's about having the most efficient, the most scalable, and the most intelligent operating model. Which really brings us to the final question you've got to ask yourself. In this new landscape, is your firm built to simply survive, or is it built to truly thrive? The answer, more often than not, lies in how you manage your capacity.